This is Zach Ramelan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I can tell you this guy is one of the fastest, one of the most brilliant filmmakers I've ever seen, and fast is becoming one of my favorite content creators on the web. He's got a new video out. He's helping people improve their YouTube channels and make better videos, and well, anything I can learn from him, because he certainly knows how to make good videos.
So I'm just going to riff with the camera playing. I actually have two cameras rolling out here. I have my A7 III, and then actually over on this end, I have the Canon M100, which for those of you who are like, oh, I like the quality of the Canon M100 right beside you, Zach, you guys can win this camera. For those of you who are watching this on the 28th, the competition I think goes until the end of the month, and that is the end of October. So on Halloween or the day after Halloween, you have 3 more days when this video gets released to win this camera. I'll provide all the links and fun stuff in the description below. But anyway, this is the first time I've kind of done, I'm trying out like some sort of like a podcast type style. Okay, let's begin with sort of this theme that I've had in the back of my mind, and it all kind of stemmed from when we started our trip, started our West Coast part of the trip in Banff, and we were in Lake Louise, and I had sort of like this crazy realization about just taking photos, and like, when you travel the world and you travel to different places, whether that's in your backyard actually, or to some of the more extravagant type places, you'll see a lot of tourists taking photos. And I found myself, and I'm sure you guys will find yourselves as shooters as well, trying to capture like all these different moments and capture all these things in photo and video and photo and video. But at the end of the day, you don't really know why you're capturing it. But it's beautiful, so you got to capture it. But I mean, if there's no purpose behind that, is there really a reason to get it? So I kind of had this sort of thought pattern when we were at Lake Louise. So I think this is probably the best backdrop I could get. Sammy's going crazy over there. She's seeing like rocks being skipped across the water, and she's just going nuts for it. One of the things that I want to bring up and talk to you guys about is this idea of taking and capturing the moment versus being in the moment. One of the biggest regrets I think that a lot of us creators, photographers, at least for me, I can speak on my behalf, is you will go into one of these beautiful epic locations and want to shoot it, and you spent your entire time in that location behind a camera instead of actually looking at, like actually giving yourself time. And really the only time that you have within that space is just posing for a photograph. So we've taken a lot of time, put away the cameras, and just got a chance to really explore this, I would say, very over photographed. I mean, I don't think you could over photograph this. This is amazing. But we took some time just to kind of give to ourselves in this space, and man, it just feels so good to just be absorbed by nature instead of behind the lens of a screen. I think you should figure out your purpose, why you're taking that photograph or taking that video, filming that one thing. And if you can figure that out, if you can figure out like why you're capturing that moment, then take it. But if you can't justify the photograph, then just enjoy the moment until you can figure out a justification. And so this has been stewing on my brain since then, and I've sort of added a bit of an initiative to myself, and I would say this for you guys as well. Like I said in the video, if you guys are looking to shoot with purpose and fulfillment, I highly, highly, highly recommend consider what you're filming and what you're filming it for, rather than just filming it or taking photos of it. If there's no purpose, if there's no reason, motive, initiative, impact, just don't do it. So that's been something that's been stewing in a lot of in my head, and I'm sure from that point you're probably thinking like, man, like, well then what do I do? I'm at this location, I'm trying to capture these photographs, and I don't know what I want to make it for. I don't know what my motive is yet. Speaking on the editor's perspective, there's been a lot of stories that I've assembled in post, or I've captured some really beautiful imagery, but what I'll do, and I actually did this the other day and I want to share it with you, is I went for a hike. Actually, I spent a whole day without touching my camera. I told myself that I'm going to leave my bag and leave my phone and camera at home, and I'm just going to go for a hike. I'm just going to enjoy nature. And this was like one of the most beautiful hikes I've been on in forever. And the craziest thing happened. Instead of me obsessing over wanting to capture every single angle and look up at this tree and get this thing and left, right, center, forward and just capture the crap out of everything and clicking the shutter and clicking the record button like 1,000 times, I actually experienced the place. And what happens is to your brain, at least this is what happened to me, is I started to think about more creative decisions rather than just capturing within the moment. Because if you just go to a place with your camera and you start filming it, you're going to do these sort of typical shots. You're going to do the, oh, this camera's brushing by this tree, I'm going to follow behind this person, I'll shoot this at 60 frames, I'll shoot this at 120, ooh, I'm getting a little crazy shooting at 24 frames. And that's probably the pattern that you'll go through. But if you don't bring your camera, you leave it at home, you leave it just in its bag, or you leave it in the car, you just go experience something just for a day. You don't have to do this for your whole trip. You can even go back to this place. What happens is you let your brain kind of roll freely. It sort of has its sort of creative juices rolling, and I mean, if you guys are creative, you'll totally understand what I mean. But what happens is you start to cycle new ideas. You start thinking about brand new things in these locations, and all of a sudden, instead of thinking about just the regular cameras pushing past this tree or whatever, you can start like assembling a story. You think of a character maybe here, or you think of a different camera movement that you wouldn't necessarily do just handheld right there on the fly. And the big thing to realize is procrastination obviously is terrible, but you are not procrastinating to shoot. You're actually allowing yourself to gain new knowledge to implement into better shots. Because at the end of the day, if you're just capturing the same style shots over and over and over again, does that really give you a lot of freedom in the edit to make anything new? So that's been something that I've really thought about quite a bit. And I had this other scenario when we were in this beautiful place on the East Coast, Grosse Moines area. And what I loved about it was the fact that I went on this hike and I thought, you know, I'm just going to bring my phone, go for this hike. And the craziest thing happened was on my hike up to the spot, I saw the beauty of it. I saw how amazing it looked. And it was just this rich, beautifully textured location. And immediately, I had to run back to the car to go get my camera because I'm like, I need my camera, I need to get the shots. And it was at that point that I realized the importance of my gear. I actually didn't have it all on me, and as soon as I was able to give my brain some digestion time of the location, I was able to start thinking creatively. I was able to start thinking freely. And this is something I really, really recommend you guys do. Even if you go for like an hour hike and then you go back and grab your camera, at least give yourself some creative freedom. And I actually learned to train this muscle not traveling across Canada on this trip, but actually when I make movies. When you become, if you're working within the film industry, you guys will totally know, even if you just watch movies, there's multiple department heads, right? You have the director, you have the cinematographer, the production designer, and when I started making movies, I did a little bit of everything. The fridge is on, it's making a loud noise, but I did a little bit of everything. I did cinematography, production design, basically anything that needed to be done. I wore those hats. And what happened was I burned myself out on a lot of shoots. I would just like get so tired and overly exhausted creatively that by the end of the day I just couldn't really think beyond what I should get. I didn't even know what I should get. I just started filming stuff, and if you watch the progression of some of my early films, you'll kind of see them taper off quality-wise because I was just super overwhelmed on set. Now, when I started working on bigger films, I would have a cinematographer, I would have a production designer, I would have people for these jobs, and the beautiful thing was when I got on set, I didn't have to think about setting up a camera. I didn't have to think about setting this one thing up. Yes, I love being hands-on and getting involved, but I actually got to be creative within the space. I was able to give myself 10, 20 minutes, and you know, sometimes I get to set 2 hours early, and my brain just started thinking and digesting that creativity. So I would recommend you guys doing that sort of process on your own trips. I know you probably cannot have a cinematographer, nor do you need one when you do your travel videos or whatever, but give yourself process time, give yourself digestion time, look at that place, maybe write it down in a journal. So that was sort of the thing that I wanted to share with you, is if you have no purpose to capture a location, but you want to capture it, give yourself time to think about it. And if you still have no reason to capture it, then just leave it as a good moment. Good moments are allowed to exist without being captured. Okay, and so the theme of this video is sort of talking about when to capture things, why you should capture them, and I do want to riff off that just a little bit more because I have gained a lot of I'd say, insight on capturing for this trip. When I went on it, I actually had a couple movie ideas in mind. I'm like, okay, I want to do a film about this, film about that, film about that. And kind of going back to sort of my traditional filmmaking roots, one of the things that I stewed on was I just wrote a couple scripts out, a couple monologues. And what the power of having some sort of prep does is it allows you to translate that when you're holding your camera. It allows you to change the flavor up. And you're influencing yourself for the content that you're going to create. So, for instance, I wrote this motivational type speech, and I really didn't know what the footage I wanted to capture for, but I knew on my trip I was going to be able to capture something that would work for that. So then moving forward, when I got to Tofino, I went on this sort of hike, and I started knowing exactly what I needed for that footage and for that monologue and that script, and so I just captured that from there. So you can always think ahead, plan ahead, write some scripts out beforehand, but again, keep that stuff in mind before arriving. Anyways, guys, that was just sort of a thought pattern that I had in my brain. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it provides some sort of value for you. I really just wanted to do a bit of a catch-up and just talk about stuff, talk about the creations that I'm working on. It is the end of our cross-country Canada trip, which feels really good just to sort of buckle down and sit down in one place for a couple days. Like, seriously, decompression is so important when it comes to basically any sort of overload. And I will share this with you, is the fact that, like, anybody who you watch who has like these really crazy lives online and like travels the world and does all this really cool stuff in slow motion and around really epic locations, like, they burn out for sure. And anytime that they're editing, they're not in those epic locations exploring. They're sitting in front of their computer working. And I am currently doing that, and it feels great. I love editing so much, so I'm just enjoying going through this footage, and it's really relaxing and super rewarding. And for those of you who are curious, I am working on a video right now that I'll probably publish very soon. I'm really excited about it, and it's just like accumulation of thoughts and experiences and footage. So hopefully you enjoy that. Anyway, for those of you who have not yet, I'd love to get your support, your subscription. You guys can subscribe to my YouTube page. It would really mean a whole heck of a lot. And just share this with your friends, your pals, any sort of filmmaking friends that you have. I'd love for this word to be spread. And if you guys do have any questions or comments, write that in the comment section below. I always love reading your comments, even though I don't get a chance to respond to all of them. I really do love hearing your thoughts. So thank you so much. I'll chat with you guys later, and hopefully this helped you out. Anyway, goodbye!
I was gonna watch that video from the turkey thing, but I can't remember. Something like something of turkey. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's about that. Give me a second. It's called like Spire Turkey. That's the one about making a video. It's probably in here. Forest Dove. Is this it? No. It's called fairy. He doesn't nothing. I'm pretty sure.
This film is purely created for filmmakers that want to learn how to tell a compelling story. There's definitely a space for filmmakers that want to express themselves through beautiful imagery. I'm in no way bashing that with this film. Every single day I'm learning and I'm collaborating with people. These are just some of the tricks and tips that I've learned along the way. And if you are one of those filmmakers that are feeling slightly fucked, that bent the minds of many creative people.
So I highly recommend you watch this, the Watchtower Turkey. We'll watch a little bit of it. I mean, I can show you a little bit more of Zach Ramelan too, but let's watch this Watchtower Turkey. You'll see what inspires me. The good filmmaking. You have to go watch it. Maybe I can link it in the description. Watchtower Tower. Yeah, I'll link it. Oh my gosh, I love this video. It's so incredible. Try not to watch something. I don't know if you can link other Vimeo videos in the comments, but I'm about to try. I got this from Dan Mace. Thanks, Dan. You rock. And we'll hang out 368.
Do you hear me?
Oh, kind of reminds me of Steve Life.
Do you hear me? This is the voice of an imperial past. The sound of horses and the strong walk of men. Do you feel me? This is your control thrill. The smell of a powerful land. Can you see me?
That's so good. I don't know how good it's turning out on the stream, but that is my favorite, all-time favorite. One of my all-time favorite. You have to go watch the rest of the thing. I don't want to ruin it. Just go watch it. Oh, absolutely stunning. And then what else can I watch?
What's up?
Save that for another night. I love Peter Coffin.
Hey everybody, want to make fun of some commercials?
Ooh, spooky toxic masculinity.
So, it's Halloween, and this is a mask. I'm not going to keep it on because I literally can't see anything through it, but...
It's not a mask, it's your true self.
True. So if you got the grapes to take on toxic masculinity, Welch's, the company that makes juice, has produced a commercial that, in keeping with Halloween aesthetics, sort of takes grape mashing to a new level. And let me tell you, this new commercial from Welch's will have you saying, "Oh, stop, oh, stop, oh!"
As we all know, grape juice is a women's product, and most men are too afraid to buy grape juice in the store because they're afraid that it will make people question their masculinity. It's actually a really big problem, and Welch's have decided to change this by making grape juice more friendly towards, you know, typical masculine energy.
No chaos dragon here.
You can try and reason with grapes into giving up all their antioxidants.
But why would you do that on account they are inanimate objects?
Has there ever been anyone on the history of the planet who drinks something like grape juice and wants to know like all the technicalities about the antioxidants and stuff?
Me. I call up Welch's every time I crack open one of their bottles.
The kind of man that it seems like they're advertising to, like, guy who works in the fields, you know, has a really busy life. You know, he's going to be reading the back of grape juice labels.
If that doesn't work, you can leave them in the dead of winter. Stab them repeatedly with a probe.
You know what I would love if I was a guy? If a commercial tried to market to me by using the absolute worst stereotypes of my gender, that would be awesome. Not exactly breaking the mold when it comes to how men are viewed in society.
Hey, so what we were thinking today is that, you know how men are violent, horrible creatures without feelings or emotions? Let's make that into a grape commercial.
Rip their stems out. Crush them.
See why this is our Halloween video?
And before anyone is like, this is a joke, yes, we are aware. Even though it is a joke, it's still them using a violent, bloody joke as a way to try and reel men in to drink their grape juice. Because they think men are so foolish that they see these kind of things and they think, violence good.
You see that cool new grape commercial? Man, I'm gonna start drinking some grape juice, dude.
That fucking Watchmen imagery in there. Gotta get that in. You know, Zack Snyder, he's awesome, that guy. Never mind that he misinterpreted a large amount of Watchmen.
Crush them again for good measure. At this point, those grapes are more than happy to give us their nutrients.
Really going for it.
Yeah. Now, if you're a long-time watcher of Adversaries, you'll know we've talked about how, rather than playing on the old making people happy to get them to pay attention to our brand, they've been going with using more unsettling themes so that you will pay attention to their product. And I think this is a pretty good example. Like, if you see this on TV, your first thought is, oh, this is a horror trailer.
Yeah.
You know?
Really put a lot of blood into the trailer there.
Yeah.
Went the extra mile with the blood in this trailer. Normally you don't see that. Oh, it's grapes.
If there's one thing that men love, it's blood, according to CDC statistics.
The federal government says the men really love blood.
So that's how they do it.
And then the puzzling heel turn. Oh, so
The world's toughest antioxidants. Welch's, tough as grapes.
World's toughest antioxidants, because if there's one thing that men love,
it's antioxidants. But only if they're tough. Before we move on, I want to touch on that slogan real quick.
Tough as grapes.
Tough as grapes sounds a lot like it's attempting to hearken to, like, tough as hell, or tough as something like that. Except for nothing rhymes with grapes that would possibly go there. It's not hearkening to any. I don't know why they were like, you know what, grapes? Let's just put that there. It sounds right.
what's going through my mind right now is really, like, we're in 2018 and we still think that we need to do specific gender marketing campaigns for fucking grape juice. And it is definitely directed toward men, specifically Gen X men. Literally, according to Welch's themselves. Companies marketing those woody berries have had some problems connecting to Gen X men, though. So Welch's, the world's leading maker of Concord and Niagara grape-based products, turned to an unexpected partner to rebrand its core lineup. Barton F. Graff is best known for ads that blend the late-night sensibilities of Adult Swim and David Lynch, promoting brands like Brink's Home Security and Little Caesars while challenging casting directors to find some of the world's strangest-looking people. We are turning a category typically packed with sunshine and smiles on its head to show consumers how grape juice is really made, said Founder and Chief Creative Officer Jerry Graff in explaining his approach. The machines Welch's workers use are actually called pulverizers and crushers. Oh yes, that will definitely appeal to the men's, those simple creatures. Graff added, the Concord grape is raised in the toughest conditions, but it's sweet, a lot like Generation X man.
The toughest conditions, having to make the hardest choices, like which Quentin Tarantino film is the best, and should I eat grapes?
This is all based on research, by the way. A Welch's study, eyebrows raised, for sure.
Welch's study.
I'm sure the Welch's study is very highly accurate.
Yeah.
Found that 59% of Gen X men are the primary grocery shoppers in their households. More than 78% drink juice with breakfast, and 6 out of 10 enjoy the grape flavour.
Well, if so many of them enjoy the grape flavor, what the fuck do they need this goofy-ass marketing for?
There's a second ad too, by the way.
The antioxidants in Welch's Concord grape juice aren't just antioxidant. No, they hate oxidants. Welch's antioxidants track down those nasty oxidants, find their leader, and beat it to a sniveling oxidant pulp. So they know who's boss. The world's toughest antioxidants. Welch's toughest grapes.
Hey, did you happen to catch the fact that they decided they're going to use hate to market to men? Remember back a while ago, they were like, hey, you know what, maybe we should just try to market to everybody. Maybe we should try to bring everybody in. And they realized that that's really hard to do, because then you have to start doing things that aren't gendered. You have to start making things that more than a couple of people like. Whereas with hate, you can get strong feelings, strong reactions, strong actions taken by simply stoking that hate. I mean, it worked for a few other people in recent times.
The juice category and shopping behaviours are changing, and we knew it was time to disrupt the category by making a bold move to reinvigorate the juice aisle. That's a sentence.
A bold move to reinvigorate the juice aisle.
Yeah, you know, because once upon a time the juice aisle was super exciting. But it's gotten stale, and
it's gone downhill pretty bad. It's like an amusement park you've been to 400 times. That juice aisle used to be so good, but like you've seen it all. To continually propagate this type of imagery and associate it with a gender that you're supposed to be one or the other of makes it easier to market to people, because all you have to do is appeal to those base level quote-unquote instincts that everybody of that gender has. Right.
Love that shirt. check out Zach Ramelan, I'm telling you. He's got some better shit. Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys watch some shit while we go.
So as some of you know, I make YouTube videos for other channels. And I decided to read through the comments, which is hit or miss sometimes. And one of the patterns that I consistently saw was this. Stop copying Peter McKinnon. You look like Peter McKinnon. Get your own style. Stop ripping off of Peter McKinnon. And at first I was hurt. This was like a big thing for me. I did not want to copy somebody else. That's not my intentions at all. And I'm sure as any single artist or person out there, the one big goal is that you just want to be original. How do I be original? I don't want to seem like I'm copying somebody else, so I decided to create a method, a sort of scheme of steps that I can utilize to create my stuff originally and become a unique artist. So here are my steps. Okay, so the first step of being original is realizing that being original is impossible. There's no way you'll ever achieve 100% originality. Every single thought, idea, pattern of creativity has been probably done. And even the fact that I'm speaking English to you means that I am not being 100% original because I'm copying somebody else who was speaking. So if I really wanted to be 100% original, I'd have to create my own language. But that own language would probably reference a language that already exists. Step 2. If you are constantly influenced by others' thoughts and ideas, develop an inspiration cocktail, compiling a list of creators who inspire you. For example, my list would be compiled of filmmakers like Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat, and let's say Sam Colder. Now, if you take a look at anybody who influences your work, realize that they are not...
You say Sam Colder? Now. Ooh, can't wait to watch some of this. Thank you.
100% original either. Peter McKinnon utilizes styles from like music videos and traditional documentary. Casey Neistat is very similar to like Wes Anderson meets Vice. Then you have Sam Colder's work that looks like an H&M ad meets Watchtower of Turkey. So then take these influences, whether
Wait a second. Did he just... Yeah, that's the video I was just talking about.
Work that they're influenced by, or them specifically,
the one we just watched.
And break down what qualities you like about their work. Then stitch it together with your cocktail. Step number 3, I feel like I'm a motivational speaker. Be yourself. That's like 100% the #1 thing about being original. Originality is impossible, but...
Anyway, go finish this video. It's really good. I mean, this isn't even the one I was thinking about, but you get the idea. Man, what's the one I was talking about? That's a good one. They're all good. He's a very good artist. I feel like there's another one. Oh, YouTube videos look the same. I think that's how to film. YouTube. Talk to the camera. How to film. What to film? I think that's the one I'm talking about. There's editing setup. Check. Successful filmmaker. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch all these. Making better films, topics, and on story. Not to be original. Copying Peter McKinnon. Wait, is that the one we're watching?
That is my only education in creation. So therefore,
that's that one. Maybe it was this one.
Possible, but being yourself.
No, that's the one we're just watching.
You need to start consuming different content in order for that to reflect in our work. You need to stop watching the mecca influencers, the ones that everybody watches, because you will only create the same stuff everybody else is making. If you really want to be unique in your work, start actually looking at the smaller creators, the ones who are just starting in the platform.
This is
look
really
like everybody else's. Why is the content that I'm making
unique?
It's 2018 and there's an overwhelming amount of influence out there. Everywhere from YouTube to Instagram.
That was Dan
Twitter,
Mace. That's the video. That's the guy who. That right there. You know, it's the guy who. That brew. It's actually Casey Neistat's buddy who made that.
Everywhere from YouTube,
Introduced me to
Instagram,
the old
Twitter, Facebook. I feel like there's so much content being pushed my way.
Well, that's a fun night.
The content that I'm creating is similar to the places that I'm consuming. I'm basically acting like a mirror to all the artists who really inspire me and who I watch daily. But I don't want that. I want my own
Coffin
vision. I want to look different. I want to have a different style. If this is something that you're saying to yourself, or maybe kind of reflecting on, you're not alone. And it's definitely an issue that I've been dealing with for a little while. Here's how I solved it. The first thing you need to do is to stop watching the content that really is so much overwhelming, making ununique. It's 20 everybody else's. Why is the content that I'm making ununique? It's 2018 and there's an overwhelming amount of influence out there. Everywhere from YouTube to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I feel like there's so much content being pushed my way, but the only content that I'm creating is similar to the places that I'm consuming. I'm basically acting like a mirror to all the artists who really inspire me and who I watch daily. But I don't want that. I want my own creative vision. I want to look different. I want to have a different style. If this is something that you're saying to yourself, or maybe kind of reflecting on, you're not alone, and it's definitely an issue that I've been dealing with for a little while. Here's how I solved it. The first thing you need to do is to stop watching the content that you're consistently viewing, take that out of your daily diet, and start consuming new stuff. Okay, sounds good. If all you're watching is one type of flavor of videos, then that is all your content will ever amount to. Let's say I only watch Steven Spielberg movies. Daily, weekly, those are the only films that I'll ever see. Then my work will only reflect the work of Steven Spielberg's because that is my only education in creation. So therefore, we need to start consuming different content in order for that to reflect within our work. You need to stop watching the mecha influencers, the ones that everybody watches, because you will only create the same stuff everybody else is making. If you really want to be unique in your work, start actually looking at the smaller creators, the ones who are just starting in the platform, the rule breakers, risk takers, the ones that aren't actually fully aware of what they're doing, they're just playing around and experimenting. Step 2 is to be influenced by older generations as well. Take a look at films from the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, and even the 60s. Those are the ones that have some of the richest style and aren't being utilized as launch points for YouTube videos. Look at old 80s action movies and take some of the transitions that they utilize in there. Maybe there's a cool film look you can take from the 70s, or some sort of narrative piece that the 60s has done. Stealing from older mainstream content is a lot easier than doing it with newer ones. The newer ones just seem like you're copying, the older ones seems like artistic reference. If you want to make something really cool, take from something that's made 10, 20, 30 years ago, and you'll seem more like an influencer yourself than a person who's just copying someone else. My third tip is to actually stop watching YouTube videos overall and start watching Vimeo movies. They are so artistically inspiring, it is nuts. Go on to Vimeo staff pick. I've included a bunch of short films in the description below that are crazy inspiring and stylistically just mind-boggling. Look at those movies, look at the weird art house, look at the abstract short films, look at the music videos that are just ridiculous, because those are the ones that can really get the creative juices flowing. My fourth tip is to not overconsume. Overconsumption is the leading cause of lack of productivity. If you're watching content for hours and hours on end, that is now counterproductive rather than productive. You want to make sure that you have bite-sized content that you can watch, get inspired by, and then go out and recreate. But you're like, Zach, I don't want to copy these people, I want to be inspired by them. The fact that you're at least trying to recreate it will develop something new and different. You're going to put in your new styles. If you want to try and mix it up and shake it up, then just put another style into the mix. That leads me to tip number 5, or 4. We'll call it tip number 6, just to be fair. Take two ideas and mesh them together. Some of the most successful concepts and ideas haven't been because they went with one mainstream concept. They took one mainstream, one side stream, and put them together. And that's it, you guys. Overall, I don't want you to stop watching YouTube videos because there's a lot of really great creators on YouTube and ones that I will continue to support all the time. But it's healthy for you and it's healthy for them for you to take a step back and to be influenced by other formats of artwork. Whether it's looking at architecture, buildings, landscape, going on unique experiences, because the only way that you will ever expand your brain is to push past your creative comfort zone and to look at new things. If all you're consuming is the same content, then that's all you'll ever be. Now, if you want to change things up and shake up the flavor but continue to watch YouTube videos, then stop looking at them as creative inspiration and look at them as inspiration for ambition. For me, I've always looked at YouTube videos to be inspired.
Anyway, you get the idea. Sorry, you get the idea.
So, you're either watching this because you...
I just love his edits. I love his little fucking thing. I just love everything about him. He's the best. Definitely one of the best.
What is the Ramelan?
Alright, I'm gonna go get some marker. I'm gonna traverse some several. I'll probably finish this trip. You might finish this? I don't know. Thanks for tuning in. Check out this,
Like a child, she's who she is.
this is good.
Was for flight, wings spread wide. Clear from night into the sun. Something wrong. She can fly like a lash.
Well, thanks for tuning in.
I can be, let me go to the club. Sell everything, but I love me to be in sales. I will pay day by day, any way I want to give.
juice.